Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Mine's been insane. Mine has been busy, but it's been good. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I miss all you guys. I missed all of you guys. Had to take a little bit of a break, to be really honest. Last week was pretty intense. Put out a lot of content in a very short amount of time, but I had to take a little bit of a break just to be completely straight funky with y'all. Okay, just to keep it straight funky. But I hope you guys are all well and had a prosperous weekend. I don't know about you guys, but mine was good. Very, very busy. Got a lot of stuff going on here. And so, like I said, these couple weeks, these upcoming weeks are going to be very sporadic. I'm just going to be honest. Some days are going to be on the time that I usually do my show, and sometimes they're not going to be. Just to be completely honest with you guys, like I said, it has been a very busy time over in my neck of the woods because I got a lot of other things coming up very soon. And it'll all make sense when we get there. But for right now, I got to keep doing me. Court documents, thank you. Do you? You know what I'm saying? But I had to jump on because, you know, this is a story that's been percolating and has been ruminating in the back of my mind for a minute now. And I keep seeing more and more stories developing around this particular story. I felt like I needed to jump on here and chop it up with you guys so that we all kind of get up to date on what's going on revolving around this particular murder, in my personal opinion. This is devastating. It's a sad story. We have another hashtag, and that hashtag is Amir Locke. And it breaks my heart, y'all. It just breaks my heart. So we got to talk about this. I was going to talk about this days ago, but I was just like, you know what? I need to sit. I need to sit on this, let this grow and do what it needs to do. And grow, did it do? Did it ever? That's what I'm trying to say. And grow, did it ever? So we got some more information. We got some stories to talk about. I know a lot of y'all, I have not talked about this case or this particular story at all. So we're going to start from the beginning and go to where we are right now, what we know so far. So, get your nice hot cup of Joe, sit down, relax, or sit at the edge of your seat and get angry. I don't know, whichever it is that works for you in your neck of the woods. And let's get into these stories. But before we go into that, though, don't forget to hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. Send as much positivity as you can. I know I'm not the only platform that is talking about this story. Everybody and their mama is talking about this story right now. But please, this is just another voice getting behind a very loud speakerphone. Everybody is talking about this. And I believe there needs to be justice for this young man, without a shadow of a doubt. We got another Breonna Taylor situation going on. People are saying that this is the new George Floyd of 2022. I don't know. There's just so much to unfold here. And if you even give a damn, if you care about this story and this young man's life, hit that like button down below. Send them all the way up. Also, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It'd be really great to have you a part of the Pascal Show. We are working towards 100,000 subscribers. Yes, I know I haven't gotten a chance to do the 50,000 subscriber celebration. I will be doing that. I promise you that. It has just been insane over in this neck of the woods. And I hope you guys understand that. Anyway, we got to get into these stories. This is not a fun one, y'all. It's not a fun one. But we got to get into it, okay, guys? Oh, man. So, anyway, let's get into our story, shall we? So there is this story. Of course, there's this huge case going around, revolving around the shooting and death of a young man, a 22-year-old man by the name of Amir Locke. I actually have a photo of him. I didn't get to put it up here. Let me give me 2 seconds. I want to make sure you guys have him as well. Now I know his face has been plastered everywhere, but this is what this young man looks like or looked like. And now he is no longer here. He was shot and killed by the hands of the police. And this is terrible. Like I said, it angers me so much because, okay, before we go into the stories and then the news clips, and we got a lot of news clips and there's a lot of new information popping off, especially what I just said down in the title down below. I dread talking about these stories. I hate talking about these stories because it breaks my heart. And it seems as if every few months we have a new hashtag. We have a new person that's been shot and killed unjustifiably by an off-duty officer or an on-duty officer or a bunch of officers. Not only now, there's been other stories of other people, like white people getting shot, almost like a firing squad. There's another story about this young man who had a box cutter in his hand, and he was shot multiple times by a bunch of cops. It's interesting that story never really got a whole lot of attention. I mean, people talked about it for 2 seconds. A few places talked about it for a few seconds, and then it just disappeared. But one thing I hate so much is talking about these stories. And unfortunately, this is what we need to talk about. We need to bring awareness to these things. We need to talk about these things. I just wish platforms like myself and other ones, I wish our voices and the protests that are going on outside in these streets right now as we speak, I just wish it would stop these things from happening. Really. As soon as it's a knee on a neck, you still see cops out here doing the knee on the neck. You see other, viral videos that get sent out here. You see something like the Breonna Taylor situation where it was a no-knock warrant type of situation, whether you agree with it or not. I know that one's extremely polarizing for a lot of people, but you think that people would learn, like the police department or just the powers that be, the higher ups that push the bills and all that stuff. You'd think that it would. You think that it would make them learn to tighten those things up or not repeat the same mistake twice, but in a different state, in a different town, in a different area code. And yet we're back at it again. And this one's just terrible. I mean, it was terrible with Breonna Taylor, but it just seems like this is just a broken record. We just keep going after it over and over and over again, even after they had already passed something to stop no-knock warrants, unless it was a hostage situation. And we're going to get into this, but like I said, this stuff gets very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But we got to get into this story. And yes, I've received everybody's DMs and emails about this for days. I mean, I've been getting stuff for the past 5 days. And like I said, I wanted to take a break from it because it's just another sad story. I needed a little bit of a break on it myself. Because sometimes when you just break these stories, it affects you. I'm not gonna lie, it affects you, and sometimes you're just like, all right, I'm gonna get to this soon, and then suddenly it just starts growing like crazy. And you're like, wow, okay, let me sit back and let me just see how this continues. Let me see how this grows. And then it grows, and then you're going, wow, okay, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this and get as much information as I can possibly get, so that we are up to date on what's going on here. But unfortunately, we got to go into the very beginning of it all. Well, sort of. Because obviously there's more developing stories as of the past few minutes. There has been, like I said, this is just really sad stuff. But like I said, I'm going to try to, get you guys as up to date as much as possible, because I know some of us haven't been watching anything at all, don't know what's going on. A lot of us, I'm sure, already know what is going on, but they're just like, I don't really. Let me just see. I'll catch up to it later. You know what I'm saying? So this is my attempt at trying to be give you guys a little bit of a timeline, if you will. But let's get into the first article. And I am going to show a little bit of the video. So I'm just going to say that out loud. Viewer discretion is advised. I am not going to show the point of his demise, the point of when they pulled the trigger, but we will be going from the very beginning until that moment, because it is triggering. No pun intended, real talk. But it is triggering, and we've all seen it. We've all seen this video. Okay. But I will be showing that here very shortly. Okay. So for those of y'all who are just tuning in and all that, please hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. Hit that subscribe button. It'd be really great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. We got to talk about this story, so let's get into it, okay? Body camera shows, and this is only one angle, by the way. So there's body camera that shows that Minneapolis police officers shoot a black man during a no-knock warrant, and it's insane how they get into this place. It's insane. But anyway, attorneys say, and this is the part that drives me nuts, is that he wasn't the target. Allegedly, they were going in there to get a suspect for a murder, revolving around a murder, and he wasn't even a suspect to begin with. So why is he dead? Why is he dead? But anyway, we will be looking at the video. I promise you that. In the early morning hours of Wednesday, Minneapolis police gently placed a key in a city apartment door before bursting through the doorway, yelling police search warrant. In the seconds that followed, a black man by the name of Amir Locke, apparently asleep and shown to be holding a gun, awakening, was shot and killed. And you're going to see the video. You'll see the video for yourself. I even found a video that is in slow-mo. So you can see what actually went down. And if you think he woke up with just a gun in his hand, right? In my opinion, I think he ran, or he woke up, leaned towards to grab the gun. He had the gun in his hand. He had his finger out on the side, so he had no intent on pulling the trigger. But it was a defense move. He woke up surprised. In my personal opinion, he woke up surprised, startled, scared, didn't know what was going on. He grabbed his gun in defense, which he legally owned. He had no police record. Like I said, this is the craziest story. And I got the press conference, the first one, which we're going to look at as well. Like I said, there's a lot to unfold here, so let's get into it. The shooting by an officer on the SWAT team in a city that came to represent ground zero for the police reform movement raised questions from Locke's family and others about the city's warrant policy. In total, the city released 14 seconds of real-time video. 14 seconds. That's all it took. 14 seconds. It's not clear what is contained in the warrant. And Minneapolis, at the time of the writing of this article, let me just say that real quick. At the time of the writing of this article, obviously there's been more information that has come out. But at the time of the writing this article, it is not clear what is contained in the warrant. And the Minneapolis officials have said the totality of circumstances leading to their officers shooting Locke are now under investigation by the state's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Police said Locke was not named in any search warrants. Attorneys for the man's family say he was in legal possession of his firearm. The warrants are sealed to protect the integrity of the investigation, and until the court directs otherwise, this is what a public information officer said, okay, within the St. Paul Police Department, which is investigating the homicide relating to the warrants, wrote in a statement. From the limited amount of video the city released, it is not clear how Minneapolis SWAT members approached the apartment, how they reacted after the shooting. According to the Star Tribune, interim Minneapolis Police Chief Amelia Huffman said at a Thursday news conference that both a knock and no-knock search warrant were obtained for 3 locations within the building where the officer shot the man, but she did not elaborate. The fatal shootings brings further scrutiny to the use of no-knock warrants and shines a spotlight on a police department that has faced criticism before. And we already know George Floyd. We already know about Breonna Taylor. Obviously, she was somewhere else. She was in Louisville. But at the same time, this is the stuff that you think that after some time, after those things that go down, you'd think that instantly they go, you know what? We need to circle back on that. You know, that didn't work that last time. That was a huge controversy. We lost a life, a woman's life, just talking about Breonna Taylor. We lost a woman's life, regardless on what side of the fence you are on. If you think that what the police did was justified, or if you think it was not justified, or if you think it was because this, that, and the third, whatever. She was a drug dealer, or she was with him and she was slumming it with her boyfriend. Whatever you think, no matter what, that is still somebody's legacy cut off. Her future gone. She is dead. That is still somebody's life gone. So no matter what side you look at it, you go, hey, maybe the police need to look at this and see what they need to do so that things like this don't happen again. But then guess what? It happens again. So I am going to show you guys the video because I think you guys deserve to see it. Now, like I said, maybe you guys have seen it a million times before, but I have seen it a million times before already, but I want to watch it as a family. And I want to say this really quick too. Viewer discretion is severely advised, but I am not going to play it past a certain point. And just so you know, okay? So viewer discretion is advised. Let's go. Okay, that's enough. But as you can see in this video, first off, I'm going to put it on mute, but we all seen this video, okay? But as you can see, they quietly put the key in the door. Then they open the door, and then all of a sudden, that's when they start screaming, police, whatever else they say. And this is the slow motion version of it. But as you can see, let's keep it straight funky, y'all. Let's keep it straight funky. If you were dead asleep, if you were in the deepest sleep ever, right? You're taking an afternoon nap, whatever it might be, right? You're watching a movie, you're watching TV, whatever it is that you're watching, and you just pass the F out. Fall asleep, and all of a sudden, bang, you get a loud noises, and then a police officer kicking the back of the couch to startle you up. You don't know what's going on. All you see is just a bunch of people screaming at you. You have your gun laying next to you, all that stuff. Next thing you know, what are you going to do? What's the knee-jerk reaction? Some people fight, some people run. Fight or flight, right? This man decided to fight. Or actually, he just grabbed it out of protection to be like, what the hell is going on? He's covered up in his comforter, sleeping ever so comfortably in a deep-ass sleep. And you wake up to boom, oh, what the? You see what I'm saying? Like, so, like I said, I get it that there's other sides of the world that are going to sit here and go, well, there's some things that the police did right here. The man is dead. What was right? Or they go, they had a split decision to do something. What? So they unload. They shoot this man 3 times? And that's okay? No criminal history? The gun that he had, he registered, he owned legally. The man was asleep, and also, he was not a suspect. He was not the reason why they were barging into that home, that apartment. And yet, there are people out here trying to justify this ish. And what's interesting about this story here is that, you know how it is. People are going to try to find everything. They're going to call him everything except a child of God. They're trying to find dirt on this kid. They're trying to find things to make him look like he was a criminal, an animal. You see what I'm saying? And guess what's so funny? No criminal record. He legally owned that gun. And he was not a suspect. He wasn't even a suspect. And now this kid is gone. I got a super chat. Let me grab that really quick. Infinite Content, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Pascal, the worst part of the situation is that the police were not looking for Amir, but someone else. Exactly what I just said. But you know what? I'm going to put it up there for everybody in the nosebleed seats that can see it. He was not even the reason why they came in the first place. And from my understanding, I thought like no knock warrants. I'm maybe things have changed, but they slowly put the key in. They opened it up, and I'm used to the whole like boom, police. You know what I mean? They just kick the damn door open. They don't care. Why do they open it up like that? Why do they go all like why? I would have rather just boom, police. They creeped in that mother lover. And because that guy was in a deep, deep sleep, they kicked the back of the couch to startle him awake. He wakes up freaking out. And of course he runs for his gun. He doesn't know what's going on. You know, we all been in that deep sleep. Let's keep it real. We all been in that deep sleep, y'all, where we just sleep. And we're like, what's going on? You know, we all been there. We all been there, y'all. And now this kid is not here. So, this one's very frustrating to me, y'all. This one's very, very frustrating to me. Okay. So, y'all do not forget to hit that like button down below, please. Crush it, destroy it, all that stuff. Make it scream out your damn name. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay. Thank you guys. But of course, we got to continue on here. Now, of course, there's a lot of people that have been feeling, understandably, that have been very upset about this. And of course, the family. So we got a few things that we got to look at here. Now, I wanted to show you guys a little bit of this press conference. This is after this incident, obviously. And the interim, I think it's the interim chief of police, and of course the mayor are in here. And yeah, I'm just gonna let them. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but I just wanted you guys to see a little bit of what they're saying. This turns into an absolute train wreck. I'm just gonna say that. This turns into an absolute train wreck. Near the I'm just gonna let it play. Let it play.
Good evening. Our city has been through a lot.
No kidding.
The pain that we've been experiencing on a weekly, if not daily basis, is only compounded by the complexities of the circumstances that we face. That's something that I've been grappling with every day, and I know people in our city have as well. Now, in grappling with it and having some of these hard discussions that we need to have, one of the first steps that is necessary is transparency, good, bad, or ugly.
Ready? You hear that line. We're here for transparency. Wait for it, y'all. It's amazing. This whole thing goes off the rails. For them. Transparency, they say. Let's go.
And in achieving transparency, it's essential, and it was essential in this case, that we release the body-worn camera footage. I do want to make sure that you understand the considerations that are in place when we release body-worn camera footage, and making sure that we're transparent every step of the way.
Now, he says, body cam footage, where the other body cam footage? Why is there only 14 seconds that has been put out? Obviously, the 14 seconds has gone viral to the point where everybody and their mom is talking about this, going justice for Amir, right? Absolutely. 100% justice for Amir. But where's the other minutes? Where's the other seconds that make minutes that put together this whole thing? Where are the other angles? Where are the other body cam footage angles from other officers so that we can see a better view? Why was there only 14 seconds put out here? And yet they say this is transparency. Okay.
First, prior to releasing the footage, we want to make sure that the family that is grieving has an opportunity to see it first. That is a non-negotiable for me. Second, about a year ago, we instituted.
Let me roll that back.
I want to make sure that the family that is grieving has an opportunity to see it first.
Okay. I'm still wondering if the parents and the family have seen it too. Have the parents and family seen it too? Does anybody in the fam know this yet? Because I am up to par with everything, but I may not be up to date on that side of things. Have they seen all of it? All angles? If I was the parents, woo, bruh, I'd be like, yo, I want to see every single nook and cranny. I want to see the moment. I want to see all as far back as this body cam footage starts. And if that means that one of the cops is driving around for 20 minutes before he goes and does this terrible thing to my son, I want to see the footage. I don't care. I want to see every nook and cranny, every last millisecond of this. See, that's the thing. How much of it Thank you, Lady Justice. But how much of the footage has been out? Because from my understanding, the rest of the footage has not been released to the public. It's still 14 some odd seconds that's being thrown out here and shared, right? And it's the only, I mean, honestly, it's the only 14 seconds that we really need to see, because it shows everything for the most part. But notice that they pick an angle that's all the way in the back, so it's not fully, you can't fully see everything. But come on, man, transparency, my ass. That's what I'm trying to say. Transparency, my ass.
That is a non-negotiable for me. Second, about a year ago, we instituted a policy in place that prohibited officers involved in a critical incident from reviewing body-worn camera footage prior to giving a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that policy in some instances is in fact trumped by the state law. The state law says that body-worn camera footage is private or non-public unless one of several exceptions are met. Those exceptions are somewhat arbitrary and in general are to be determined by local elected officials. The state law should be changed so that there is more clarity, there is more transparency, and people throughout our city know what to expect with regards to its release. Anyone who watches these videos, no matter the circumstances, at the very least experiences a deep and unsettled feeling. It's gut-wrenching. No matter the circumstances, a man, Amir Locke, has lost his life. A family is grieving and has forever been changed. Regardless of the circumstances, we must hold those facts in our heart.
Okay, let me just say this really quick. And I'm sorry for like pausing this a bunch. I'll get it. I'll let it run here in a second. But one thing that keeps popping in my mind, you have in this city, in this state, let's just say that, you have the death of George Floyd that has happened in that area. Haven't we learned? Actually, the question, let me rephrase that. When are we going to learn? Sorry. When are they going to learn? See what I'm saying? G-Man, you ain't wrong. It's cookie cutter comments. Oh, devastated, the family and all that. Well-spoken. It's well-spoken, but that's what he gets paid to do. It's to say those well-spoken things. But bruh, where is the change? Where's the acknowledgement that these things need to stop, and they're going to stop at nothing to make sure that stories like this never happen again? Y'all already had George Floyd up in this piece, man. Now you got this, bruh. I'm saying it's not good.
This video raises about as many questions as it does answers, and those answers we need to be providing as quickly as possible through a number of investigations that are in fact already underway, whether through the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension or the St. Paul or Minneapolis police departments. We intend to get answers as quickly as possible and in transparent fashion, recognizing that as of tonight, not all of those answers can be provided. These issues are complex. And I know there are so many here that are grieving and don't care as much about the complexity because, let's face it, a man has lost his life. But it is our job, it is my job as a leader to figure it out. I do not want to put the public or our officers in harm's way. These two principles, they are not mutually exclusive. They're up to us to work together to get the necessary resources, to provide the necessary information, and to have a willingness to both ask uncomfortable questions and then receive uncomfortable answers. Truth and justice must be our guiding principles, and make no mistake that they will be. So for tonight, I know that so many people are grieving and gathering with their friends and their family. They want to process, they want to reflect the tragic events from the last few days. And they're still also feeling the grip of what our city has experienced in the form of so many crises over the last several years. Take care of each other. And from tonight, as we look ahead, we are committed to this work, to each other, and to swift transparency.
Okay. Swift transparency ain't have been swift enough. That's what I think. But let's get over to the interim chief of police. This is when it gets really good. This is when it gets really, really good. So get ready. Get ready.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Let me first acknowledge, like Mayor Fry, the loss and pain in our community. These events unfold in seconds, but the trauma is long-lasting. A young man lost his life, and his friends and family are in mourning. Community members are in pain and have questions, and rightfully so. And the course of the lives of our officers has been changed forever. It's a sobering moment.
I don't even need to respond to that. This one moment is a sobering moment. Okay.
Community trust is a public safety requirement.
Okay.
In Minneapolis, our community safety work is only as good as the public trust that we have built, and we have plenty of work ahead of us. Events like this tonight, as well as community conversations that I've had yesterday and today, are part of that work. The decision that we made to release this footage is not necessarily common among local governments, but I believe it is the right decision. My initial priority, like Mayor Fry's, was for the parents of this young man to be able to see this video before it was released to the public. And they had the opportunity to do so this afternoon. I'm grateful to all of the folks in the city whose work made it possible for us to release this video to you tonight, and to Mayor Fry for his partnership and his shared commitment to building public trust and rebuilding community safety. I'm under no illusion that processing this video will be easy. It won't be. It shouldn't be. These are wrenching videos to watch. They're painful. But it's necessary. And I hope that it provides some answers along with the questions.
We've seen 14 seconds so far, y'all. I mean, the public. Do you think it's answered some questions? I mean, it's answered some questions to me because obviously I have my own personal opinions about those 14 seconds. But anything that revolves around it or leads up to the 14 seconds of this man's death, those questions are still up in the air.
And so here is a brief recap of the events that led up to the video and the events that you saw in the video. So as many of you know, this involves an underlying homicide investigation that was undertaken by the St. Paul Police Department. Their investigation led them to identify several suspects and 3 locations in the city of Minneapolis. And they asked the Minneapolis Police Department SWAT team to execute the search warrant at 3 apartments in the building on Marquette. Both a no-knock and a knock search warrant were obtained for those locations so that the SWAT team could assess the circumstances and make the best possible decision about entry.
Now, my question is, they said, and I read in that article, there was a knock and no knock warrant that was issued, right? A knock and no knock. So who got the knock and who got the no knock? They went to 3 different apartments. Did they just pick and choose? Or did they have a reason to have a no knock for where Amir was sleeping in? For the apartment that Amir was sleeping in? Strange, right? You ask for a knock and no knock. Why not just knock on every single door then and just be done with it? Why have the choice between 2? That doesn't make any sense.
As you saw in the video, the team approached the door.
Unbelievable.
And they used a key. There was no need to force entry. There was no breaching. There was no ram involved. They used a key to open the door and announced police search warrant before they crossed the threshold.
No, they did not. You see it in the video. They did not. They were already inside the home when they started screaming police search warrant. You saw it in there. It wasn't right when they opened the door, they walked in and they were like, please, like that. Quit capping.
The team was announcing police search warrant as they proceeded into the apartment. Their job was to make entry deliberately to assess any threats that were inside. As they proceeded toward the back of the apartment, as you saw in the video, there was a couch. And you can see that there's a form under a blanket or a comforter that begins to rise up.
Like a human body, like a human life, like Amir Locke. Oh, let's not forget, she forgot this detail. I'm assuming she forgot this detail. I mean, we haven't gotten through this. Maybe she explains herself here in 2 seconds. But somebody also, one of the officers kicked the back of the couch. We should not forget that. Kick the back of the couch. The form, as which he said, which sounds like an inanimate object instead of an actual human being with a damn beating heart and a soul. Like I said, these stories, there's a reason why I took a break on this one and let it just simmer, because this stuff boils my blood, right? And yeah, let me just let her keep splaining here, okay? Lucy got some splaining to do.
The officers were approaching. They were giving commands to show your hands, show your hands. And as they got close, you can see, along with an individual emerging from under the blanket, the barrel of a gun.
So she didn't even say nothing about kicking the back of the car, back of the couch. Isn't that a little detail? I'm just saying, isn't that a little tiny, weensy, little bitty piece of information that you need to know? That's a crucial piece of information. If I was asleep and somebody rattled my little makeshift pallet that I made on a couch, okay, all comfortable, deep sleep, and I'm getting throttled awake, you're not gonna. Son of a, you're not even gonna put that in there? Come on, y'all. Come on. Black and white people, my black and white fam, and those people who will sit here and go, oh, the police did nothing wrong, blah, blah, blah. Think about it for 2 seconds. Just do me that favor. Think about it for 2 seconds. If it was you and you were white and you were sitting there sleeping in the couch, rolled up, by the way. He was rolled up in this comforter. He was in the most comfortable situation. That dude was in a deep sleep. He was getting that good sleep. You feel me? And then all of a sudden you get throttled like that. And people screaming at you. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Instantly you're going to get up and be like, something. You know what I'm saying? And oh, sorry, I'm not trying to say only white people. Not there are white people that are on the side of like this is unjust and all that stuff. I'm not trying to single out all white people. What I'm trying to say is there's also black people too. The people, let me just repeat that. The people who think that the police did nothing wrong. Please look at this again, and you tell me what you would do if you were in a deep sleep. If you're woken up like that, you would sit there and go, you wouldn't even know what to do with yourself. Instantly, it would be fight or flight. Instantly, you would go in survival mode. Period. And there's so many people out here that sit here and go, oh, yeah, there's people out here literally trying to justify this whole thing. There is no justification for this. None. And I'm sorry, but she's leaving out a little bit of information that's very crucial. That's another piece of very crucial information that she just happens to just glaze over. I'm not with it, y'all.
Which comes out from the blanket,
man,
and becomes more fully exposed as you move frame by frame through the video. And then the still shot shows the image of the firearm in the subject's hands at the best possible moment when the lighting was fully on him.
That's how media has been showing it, making it seem like he was out here trying to do bad. But if you go and look at the footage and you look at the still that they have of him, he's holding the gun, but he has his finger out. He doesn't have his finger on the trigger. He just grabbed it. He just grabbed the gun. That's all he did. He grabbed the gun. This narrative that she's giving, this piece of information that she's giving, is extremely biased, extremely one-sided. That's the reason why her face has changed every shade of red. Straight up. Because she knows she's not giving full transparency here.
That's the moment when the officer had to make a split-second decision to assess the circumstances and determine whether he felt like there was an articulable threat, that the threat was of imminent harm, great bodily harm, or death, and that he needed to take action right then to protect himself and his partners.
And shoot him 3 times, killing him. Okay.
Ultimately, that decision of whether that threshold was met will be examined by the county attorney's office that reviews this case. The homicide investigation in St. Paul is ongoing. Mr. Locke was not named in the original search warrant. And so at this point, it is unclear if or how he is connected to St. Paul's investigation, but they are continuing to work dedicatedly on that case. They were on scene. They did search and recover items that they believe are of evidentiary value in their homicide investigation. And that.
Where's the rest of the footage? You're telling me that they didn't maybe put things out there? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that that 5-0 is super corrupt. I'm not saying that. But if there's information out here or evidence, this is after the fact, after Amir Locke was shot. They found this evidence inside this apartment. You don't think that was ever so conveniently placed in that apartment? He was not a suspect. This was a completely innocent man who owned a gun, rightfully so, and legally owned this gun, that got woken up. And now they're saying, oh, there's evidence that was found inside of that said apartment that's going to be used in this situation that they were there for. So they found crucial evidence after the fact to justify the shooting of this young man. I'm just speculating, obviously, but where's the rest of the footage?
That work continues. The investigation by the BCA is ongoing. The Minneapolis Police Department will also make an assessment of policy and procedure violations in a separate internal administrative investigation. There are multiple jurisdictions and multiple investigations bound up in this discussion, and that makes information sharing extremely complicated. I want to be direct with you. Due to the multi-jurisdictional considerations, I am limited in what I can say. I'm going to take questions, as will the mayor, and we will do our best.
Chief, this was a cacophony. This young man, presumably sleeping, had very little time to react. He was probably stunned. I mean, are you going to look at your policies and possibly call this justifiable?
If you want to eat healthy and feel your best, you go.
Hey, eat healthy and feel your best. Anyway.
Everyone seeing this footage?
So we will definitely look at all of the events in this case that led up to this incident. We will be re-examining our policies, of course. Our agency is committed to meeting best practices and tactical operations among agencies vary wildly. There is no single best practice for making these kind of entries. And even among agencies in the Twin Cities, agencies may use different tactics on different search warrants, and different agencies have different policies. So certainly I think that will be a valuable conversation.
Was Mr. Locke a suspect in any crime at all?
I cannot speak for the investigation in St. Paul because I don't have the facts of that case, but St. Paul is working to understand the evidence that they collected and the underlying facts of their homicide investigation. And I have been assured by Chief Axtell that they will make information public as soon as they have it available.
So she can't even answer that damn question of like, no, he was not a suspect. No, he was not a person of interest. No, he was an innocent life. Ha.
Threshold, because we can clearly see in the video that no words were spoken by those officers before they entered the door. Yesterday, you said that they were loudly announcing their presence and knocking at the door before, but that didn't happen. You saw it all in the video.
See, we ain't dumb, y'all. We all see even the 14 seconds, even though the 14 seconds ain't a whole lot, a lot is told in those 14 seconds, which is why I thank God for the body worn cameras, right? I thank God for those things because they are so, even if they're like crappy and grainy and the angles are all crap and whatnot. I mean, if you 14 seconds of video says a lot, and you got somebody right here, smart as hell, going, wait a second, excuse me, interim chief, you straight cap right now because we saw it all before. They didn't say nothing until they walked inside the home. They walked past the threshold, way past the threshold, and that's when they started squawking. Real talk. Okay?
Right. So in the video, they open the door with the key and announce police search warrant before they enter the apartment.
That's not true. If you go back and watch the video,
I love this.
until they cross the threshold.
Off the rails.
It's just not true.
I definitely encourage everyone to view the video and make that assessment for themselves.
Is it true that officers are only to speak one at a time when they come in? In other words, is that police training 101 that only one officer speaks? In these circumstances, why were all of them screaming and shouting at once in ways that you could not determine what they were actually even saying?
So certainly when we're doing a more controlled action, like a felony stop, we clearly identify one person to be speaking. In this case, the officers were advancing into the apartment and also into separate rooms. And so you do have people giving commands, loud commands, and repeating police search warrant, police search warrant.
Chief, yesterday in your statement, you specifically articulated that he pointed the gun in the direction of the officers. You did not use that language just now. Can you point to specifically in the video where he points the gun at the officers?
Yeah, so if you look at that still image, even though you don't see
It's just a still. Come on, man.
all of the officers, the involved officer was just outside the frame in the direction that that barrel is emerging from the blanket.
Cap.
Looked to me as if that gun in Mr. Locke's hand was pointed toward the floor.
And certainly when the county attorney's office reviews that case, they will be carefully examining all of those factors. And I'm absolutely positive they will take a look at that. Of course, we all know these events happen very rapidly. And as there's a gun emerging in your direction, you're forced to make a split-second decision about when it's a threat.
Chief Huffman, hold on. Chief Huffman, no, do not. Okay, I'm not a threat. I don't have a gun. Okay, don't treat me like I'm a threat.
This is what I would call the anatomy of a cover-up. This is unacceptable. I'm sorry, it is.
Off the rails. Why? Why, you ask? Why? Because this interim police chief, straight cap. And now she's trying to backtrack. As you saw, these reporters aren't dumb. We are not dumb. We are all intelligent people to a certain extent, right? But you see how quick she was trying to finesse. She's trying to slide through the cracks and stuff, being like, oh, no, well, we don't know of this, that, and the third yet, and blah, blah, blah. Bruh, come on, man. Oh, yeah, the gun was pointing at a cop. And if you look at the footage, the gun is still on he just had the gun in his hand. And the gun is still pointed down. He's not pointing it at anybody. It was almost like he was trying to run for it, and he just kind of, so he was trying to grab it, and he fell over because he's still wrapped in the comforter. His finger's not on the freaking trigger. And they're going, oh, split the second decisions. I really, it aggravates me so much when we go into that realm of he had a nanosecond to make a decision. Well, you had a nanosecond to just go and tackle him down. You had time. You had other things that you could have done. Okay. I'm not sitting here saying that I have all the solutions on what could have gone down, but this young man could still be alive right now. That extra nanosecond could have been him not dead. Him going, oh, and dropping the gun. Oh my God. Oh, it's police. What the hell's going on? I don't know what? I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just here sleeping. But this man is dead. And you see the cops trying to finesse. You see the chief trying to bob and weave through all these questions. And yet she said something yesterday. People went back. They had 14 seconds to spare to rewatch the video and show without a shadow of a doubt that the chief of police is lying. She's straight capping, y'all. This is the reason why Nakima Levy Armstrong comes out and says, oh, hail to the gnaw. This ain't going to go down today. And this is when it was already going off the rails. When you got people fact checking her, you got people sitting here going, officer, police chief, you capping because you've been saying this yesterday. And then we went back and looked at it again with a fine-tooth comb. And all of this has been one big ass lie. Have mercy. Off the rails we go.
When I agreed to work with you on the work group, we talked about the importance of transparency and accountability. And here, what we are seeing is business as usual. And you know this, Amelia. You know this, Jacob. I don't know how you guys slipped.
I'm sorry. I love how she says their first names. I'm sorry. It's amazing. Because you know for a fact that she did not give a damn about no rank. She's like, you ain't my mayor. Amelia. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. You ain't my chief, Amelia. Anyway, just thought it was hilarious. But let's go. The first name she throws out, like they all broke bread together, like they all been drinking buddies in the past. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Off the rails.
That night, I couldn't sleep at night. Tears from a mother's perspective, thinking about what happened. I saw the picture of Amir. He looks like a boy. My son is 17 years old. He has slept on his friends' couches for sleepovers. So we cannot sit here and whitewash this and pretend that it's okay. You knew that I was not going to stand for police violence and a push for accountability, yet you asked me to be a part of the work group. And I knew what I thought I was signed up for. This isn't what I signed up for. I understand if you're not comfortable having me continue to co-chair, that's your prerogative. I signed up to help bring recommendations because we're tired of being killed. We're tired of the cover-ups. We're tired of the excuses. And to hide behind the St. Paul Police Department, the deadliest police force in the state of Minnesota, is unacceptable. You all had no business agreeing to carry out a warrant, and now you're claiming that's part of their investigation. You don't know. Well, why the hell did you all sign up to do this in the first place? There was a homicide that happened at 1-something in the morning on Hennepin Avenue. Someone was killed, and then the person drove away in a black SUV. They're still at large in Minneapolis, potentially a threat to residents. But you all go do something for St. Paul police, and now you're trying to hide behind that decision. It's not acceptable. We are ready for change. When the people voted to re-elect you, Jacob, they not only showed that they wanted to see a new leader, right? Not saying you're not the person who got reelected, you got reelected. But what they were expecting is a new beginning.
Woo! Okay. Who is this woman? I would love to rap with her for like just 2 seconds and then also give her a high five and a big old hug. We need more people out here like this. I'm sorry. We need more people like this out here. She ain't belittling. She's just speaking straight facts. And the Pioneers said, staged or not, I like this. I don't think it's staged. I don't think that Jacob or Amelia would want this, because this is embarrassing for them. So I don't think this is staged. I think she used this opportunity, though, and she using it like a mother lover. Let's keep it straight funky on that. Okay. She using this opportunity. Oh, yeah, she is. She's yeah, she is definitely using this opportunity. I mean, you can see she's relishing in it a little bit. You know, she found that pocket, and now she's riding that mug, right? But what she's saying is not a lie. It's far from a lie. It's nothing but truth. So she dropped some facts, and we need to hear this stuff. Actually, we don't need to hear this stuff. The people out here that feel some type of way about how police are with, the general public, right? She's not speaking to us on that. She's speaking to the people like Jacob and Amelia that are too busy trying to cover the truth rather than being straight funky and transparent about what's really going on out here in the legal streets and in the real streets out here. So let us preach on.
That's why they gave you more power and authority. So that is what we want to see as the residents of Minneapolis. We don't want to see cover-ups. We don't want to see whitewashing. People are asking very simple questions that have still not been answered. Amelia, you're saying you want to be the chief? Then act like it. Demonstrate integrity. Don't cover up for what those cops did. If they knew that the kid had a gun as he started waking up, say, drop your weapon. They didn't do that. One cop opened fire and took the life of a child who was trying to go back into his blanket. Any mom can see what happened there. So I can't tolerate the whitewashing. I'm sorry, y'all. We can't do this. I know you have your narrative. I know you have your script. I know you guys didn't personally go shoot somebody, but you do have the opportunity to make it right. To talk about the fact that you changed the no-knock warrant policy. Where's the evidence of that?
Very good question. Very good question. Oh, and I bet you she gonna run. She's gonna run she's gonna run for something. Again, if Lady Justice said, I think she ran for mayor in the past. If she really did, I guarantee you she gonna use this to try to run again. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. But they say that they changed the no-knock warrant stuff. Where it be at, though? We can continue.
That wasn't present on what happened to Amir Locke. So if I'm going to be the co-chair of this group, I'm expecting strong leadership. I'm expecting integrity, and I'm expecting accountability. Yes. You guys aren't going to waste my goddamn time.
No.
And I don't care. You guys had your security trying to stop me. I can be used to come speak the truth about what needs to happen. But when it's time to call out these inconsistencies, these inaccuracies, the lack of information, I got to sit in the back or even not even be invited. I'm not here for it. We fought too long, too hard. It's people in jail, including Cortez Rice, trying to get the court to show what's happening in the courtroom so people can see what's going on. People have put their lives on the line because we're ready for change.
Okay. And like I said, a lot of things she said is true, but I think she's done. You know what I mean?
So we're expecting from this point forward for you guys to do something different. I'm not playing. We're not here for it. We're not here for it. I'm only committed to working on this work group if you all are committed to being honest and transparent and not covering up the bullshit. Thank you.
Why did you release pictures
Okay. I mean, there was some self-promotion there. There was a little bit of promotion, you know what I mean? A little bit of promo there. She kind of sprinkled a little promo crack in there. You know what I'm saying? Seasoned it. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, shoot. You get an opportunity to go up there and school them and as I've got words to set, a mic drop, you know what I'm saying? And walk off the damn stage. I don't blame her for throwing in a little promo, let people know who she is and what she does, right? And how she is connected with these two, right? With Jacob and Amelia. But she said a lot of things that are very true. Transparency is key here. Instead of lying, instead of sticking to a narrative that the higher ups, that the politicals tend to do, instead of being really straight, honest about everything. So what she's saying ain't wrong. Yeah, she's throwing a little self-promotion, but real talk. Transparency is king. Period.
his gun, but no pictures of the gun of the officer who killed him? Why?
Like I said, this is off the rails. Oh, I see. Cortez Rice, who she mentioned deserved his incarceration. He tried to interfere with trial and potentially intimidate jurors. That's my opinion. Interesting. That's very interesting. I need to look into the Cortez Rice situation for sure. But thank you so much for that piece of information, Lady Justice. But at the same time, of course, they got a proper tongue lashing, and now they gotta save this press conference. But once you have somebody like her come up and say what she said, she ripped the Band-Aid off. I mean, she just blew out the dam. Now it's going to be a tidal wave of people saying their personal opinions about all this. Like I said, it's going off the rails.
Why have you not released that information? This man did not shoot anyone. He did not discharge his weapon.
I'm going to roll that back a little bit.
Why did you release pictures of his gun, but no pictures of the gun of the officer who killed him? Why have you not released that information?
Now, it doesn't matter about the gun that was, because it's a regular ass standard issue gun, right? What I would want to see, and I understand what she's trying to say, like they put out the photo of Amir holding the gun rather than showing everything because they want to put out a narrative. Remember, like Lawrence Smith Fields. Remember that story about the girl? She was on a Bumble date, ended up dead, wound up dead in her bed. The guy that she was on the Bumble date, a white male, was basically saying, "Oh, I didn't touch her. There's nothing that happened. All I did is wake up next to her with dead, with blood coming out of her nose, so on and so forth." Right? But they were quick to put out her toxicology report saying, "Oh, she died from acute intoxication." Right? They were quick to put out that narrative to make it seem like she's a party girl and she may have done a little bit too much drugs, which obviously caused her demise. Right? Same thing with this whole thing about Amir Locke. They're going to pull up the photo of him holding a gun, zoom in, show everything they can, but they won't show anything on the other side of on the side of the blue. They won't show any of that because they're busy trying to create that narrative, making him everything, calling him everything except a child of God. But the funny thing is this kid is squeaky clean. He had aspirations of building a business, becoming an entrepreneur. And the only mistake, unbeknownst to him, that he made was sleeping on that damn couch. That's it. But they're quick to put out that stuff and go, see the angles and see how he has the gun in his hand. That's why he's shot and dead. This is justified. No, it's not. But this is why I wish when they say transparency, let's see 14 seconds from other angles then. Let's see it. Let's see 14 seconds after the shooting. Let's see 14 seconds before they put the key in the lock to the door. Let's see all that. Transparency, transparency, transparency. We'll see how long it takes for them to do that.
You know, this man did
Off
not
the
shoot
rails.
anyone. He did not discharge his weapon. Why did you release his gun? That was a disgusting vilification of this man. That is inexcusable. It is utterly disgusting that you would release a picture of his gun, even though he never fired his weapon. And you know he didn't fire his weapon, because you had both seen the video. This is the kind of lack of transparency that Nikita is exactly talking about. When you send out these sensationalistic pictures of his gun, a man who has never committed a crime, but you don't release the video, or rather the pictures of the officer's gun.
So, Miss Gross, thank you for being here. And Miss Levy Armstrong, thank you for your strong words. You acknowledged and rightfully pointed out that at this moment in time, we need accountability, we need leadership, and we need transparency. You asked whether we wanted you to continue as co-chair.
Sorry, I'm gonna say this real quick. Lady Justice, you're killing me. Yeah, he does kind of look like that. He still looks like a prepubescent boy, like he hasn't even hit puberty yet. Does he even grow a beard? I'd love to see him grow a beard. It's probably all splotchy and just. Anyway, I digress. Sparse, just sparse. But let me just say this. Notice how quickly he goes into politician mode. Watch.
The answer is yes. We are dead serious
Full mode
about
right now.
seeing the necessary changes through. And the necessary changes start with being honest and transparent. That begins with all of you here today and releasing body camera footage in the immediacy so that people can see exactly what is in it, good, bad, or ugly. But it doesn't stop there. It goes on to getting the necessary facts of the case. And I know, speaking from experience, that there is an ongoing tension between getting things out quickly and getting things right.
Did he answer the question? I'm curious. Did he answered? He looked towards Nakima, sure, but is he answering the question here? But this is see, like I said, politician mode. It's the verbal gymnastics that he's doing, right? It's very, it's very speech rhetoric, politician-y. But while he's sitting here going, hey, watch what the right hand's doing because the left hand's doing something else. He ain't even being real, y'all. This ain't even a real human being right now. He just turned into a damn robot.
We want to get things right.
Yeah.
We want to, excuse me. We want to gather the necessary evidence to make sure that we are not telling you something that is inaccurate now, only to correct it a day later.
Okay. So then get the information that you got first, then have a press briefing, but make sure that everything that you have in that press briefing is completely 110% accurate to the T. You still have the interim police chief saying things that are not true, that are seen in the video, that prove otherwise. She is putting out a narrative that doesn't even exist. So if you're talking about transparency, you need to look to your chief of police right now. You need to look to Amelia right now and say, sweetheart, you need to shut up. Or if you don't have the information, don't show up. Don't show up until you see everything, instead of trying to change this narrative so it sounds good for your boys in blue. Just saying.
Why was Amir Locke referred to as a suspect?
And so I'm going to ask.
That's right.
Why was Amir Locke referred to as a suspect in the MPD's press release?
That's right.
I don't know. So, could you speak
And
to that?
again, why was
He's
the
like, you got this one?
release-
So, but we could do one question at a time. We do want to answer the questions, but I would also prefer just to one question at a time.
Yeah, one question at a time. Watch what happens. This is amazing.
To your question, I do not know.
Does the chief know? Can the chief answer that question?
No kidding. Answer the
Right.
damn question, sweetheart. Let's go.
So
Lies.
yesterday at the time that we were putting out the press release, we didn't have as much information as we have now, of course. And so it's unclear, certainly unclear yesterday, but it remains unclear if or how Mr. Locke is connected to St. Paul's investigation. And more information will be coming as St. Paul digs further into the case.
Why did you refer to him as a suspect in a press release If you didn't know. if you
That's
didn't
all the
know?
time we have, everyone. Let's call it.
No, no.
Was anyone apprehended?
She says, we're looking into the thing, blah, 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 because we're still trying to find, to me, the way it sounds like, we're trying to find more excuses. And we're trying to pin him with a few more things before we actually come back to you guys with solid evidence that shows that we done mucked it all up. But we want to show that you guys that he was a career criminal. We still are doing our due diligence to do our background checks on this guy to make sure that this man doesn't have a squeaky clean record, to make sure that he didn't legally own that gun, to make sure that he is a suspect to this murder investigation that we were investigating on. And yet, funny thing is everything came back negative. Dude was clean. This is the worst situation because, you got the George Floyd situation where everybody and their mama can lean on the thing. Oh, he was on fentanyl. He was a career such and such. He was in a porno. All this stuff that they wanted to do to try to bury George Floyd. Aside the fact that this man basically died in front of millions of people, everyone out here tried to justify what he was in his past. But in this particular situation, so that it can justify with the George Floyd situation, it could justify their reasoning for leaning towards Derek Chauvin and what he had done. But the funny thing is in this situation, this kid is clean. He legally owned that gun. He was not a suspect. He was a law-abiding citizen. No criminal record. And now this kid is dead. But notice, this is what the chief says. Oh, we're trying to figure the yellow pudding pop doll. Like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? Oh, then the other part. Let's not forget that other part. Oh, we found key evidence inside of that apartment. Excuse me? So now it's justified that they went in there and killed this young innocent man because they found key evidence inside, allegedly found it in the home. I'm sorry for throwing out the speculation and the conspiracies, but you don't think somebody would have just grabbed something from evidence that they already had and just throw it in there and go, "Oh, look what I found." You don't think they planted that stuff? Shimon, baby. Shimon. But it's crazy. Watch as the questions start coming out and she starts to freaking drown. Watch.
Ended as part of this.
Also,
When will you release the search warrant?
how is walking out of a press conference transparency? You are a murderer!
This is not a good look, y'all. This is not a good look. This is not a good look, y'all. They should have sat there and just took it and answered as many questions as they could and then said, that's enough, guys. I'm sorry, but we got to get going. She runs. She runs. And the mayor follows in suit. This is not a good look. Still goes. Still keeps going.
This is a shame. This is what we have been fighting
go.
against. This is what we've been fighting against since George Floyd was killed. Running away from accountability and transparency. This is shame. Residents or people in Minneapolis need to know this cannot continue. They killed a young man who was sleeping. He did not even have a chance. And for a lot of the media already shared the one where he had the gun holding it. You know, if you are anybody who's a gun owner, that if your finger is out, you are preparing, but you are not ready to fire because you don't even know who's in front of you. This young man did not have a chance. This was Breonna Taylor in Minneapolis, and even worse. And the mayor and the chief are running away from questions.
I have to say it. I have to say it.
The people took over the press conference. And I don't blame them for taking over the press conference. I really don't. I really don't blame them. I know there's more to go through, but I just wanted to see what this lady says.
As fast as I can. You saw what happened just now when I asked about why they released those pictures of his gun, though they never made an allegation that he fired it. And you can clearly see in the video that it was never fired. In fact, he never even pointed it at an officer. But yet they will not answer the question of why they released that sensationalistic, demonizing picture. But yet they did not release anything about the officer except his name until finally now. And they certainly did not release a picture of his gun. Wouldn't that be more relevant to news media?
Yes and no. What I think would be more relevant is if we actually saw the angle of seeing the officer firing his gun, right? The angle of him, or seeing his POV, right? But the actual photo of him holding the gun, I don't think it's necessary. Personally, I don't. It does not change anything, does not change the narrative, because I feel like a vast majority of people are seeing this and all agree for the most part. There's other people out here that don't agree, but there are people out here that do believe, vast majority, that what happened to this young man is completely and 110% unjust. So I would rather see seeing a still of a gun. It's a standard issued police gun. It's not like he pulled out a John Wayne 6-shooter. He had a regular gun, standard issued police gun, right? Or police standard issued gun, whatever you want to call it, right? We don't need to see that. What I want to see is the other angles. What I demand to see is what happened 14 seconds before all this stuff went down, and 14 seconds of what happened after things went down. That's what I give a damn about. I don't give a damn about no still of a cop. We already know we already know the ultimate devastating result. We don't need to see the gun. Doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is seeing the other angles. Seeing a 20-minute video on how they obtained the keys. Where did they obtain the keys? How did they finesse whoever had the keys to give them said keys? And so on and so on. I get what she's saying. I get why she's upset. I'm not roasting this woman at all. I'm not. I'm just saying I want to see the footage, not stills.
That was the gun that was fired. Why would they release a picture of this man's gun? What was the sole purpose of that? Well, we know what it was. It was sensationalistic, demonization of a victim of police murder. Plain and simple.
She ain't wrong with that. She is definitely not wrong with that. It is most definitely a full-on depiction of of police, of the media, trying to villainize this young man. And what's very interesting, and I've already said it before, but I will say it again now, this kid was clean. Squeaky, squeaky clean. Okay? He was Mr. Clean up in this biznai. Okay? No record. Legally owned firearm. Was not connected to any of the murder, that the investigation of this murder. He was not even a person of interest, nor was he a suspect. Squeaky clean. And look at how they're trying to do things. Look at how they're trying to spin the narrative to make it seem like he is a terrible person, where he was just literally doing a reaction to, when he was just doing a reaction, but he was a knee-jerk natural reaction of being throttled awake out of nowhere and being super surprised. Hold on, I need to look and see this right quick. All right. All right. So there's some information here, which I will, it came out. Wow. It came out today. Shout out to Lady Justice. Thank you so much. I'm going to show this here in a second. I will get to this. This is breaking as of the past 30 minutes, allegedly. So we will be looking at this here very, very shortly. And it has to do with the murder investigation in which they were looking into. But I do have a few more things I want to get into here, and then I'll get to that moment. And that's very, very big. Unbelievable. But let me continue here. But you see how much of a train wreck that turned into. That was a huge train wreck. Gigantic train wreck. But I want to pull this up, because like I said, the plot keeps thickening on this. They say, remember, Nakima said, Nakima did say when she went up there and said her spiel, which was wonderful. She did say, you guys said you guys changed the no-knock warrant policy. Where's the Carfax, right? Well, let's take a look at this.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey answered his police department today as a committee pressed him about no-knock warrants. That is what a SWAT team used to get inside a downtown apartment last week when a police officer shot and killed Amir Locke. David Schuman is live outside of Orchestra Hall, which is just steps away from where that shooting happened. David?
Frank, this mural here behind me for Amir Locke is the start of what will become a memorial wall to him. His death has brought hundreds, maybe thousands of protesters to the streets and is forcing Mayor Frey to answer questions about what he's done and will do to regulate the high-risk no-knock warrants.
There is a problem here in Minnesota. The proof is in the pudding. It's showing right now.
Black mothers demanded accountability at Minneapolis City Hall Monday. They want Officer Mark Hanneman, who shot Amir Locke, to be fired and criminally charged. Police video shows a SWAT team carrying out a no-knock search warrant last week. Locke looks to be asleep on the couch. He can be seen holding a gun when Hanneman fires 3 times. Locke wasn't named on the warrant. Mayor Jacob Frey is now reworking the city's policy on no-knock warrants, while an indefinite moratorium on the practice is in place, with limited exceptions.
The overriding goal here that comes from any of these decisions, it's the preservation of life, period.
Frey answered questions Monday at a meeting of the City Council's Oversight Committee. No-knock policy experts also spoke, including Ben Crump and 2 of his partners, who were representing Amir Locke's family.
So I found the
Okay. I gotta roll this back. I'm gonna bring it back here, but I want to show you guys something. Whoops. Does this gun, and hopefully you guys can see this, but does this gun look like it's pointed at anybody? Does this gun look like it's pointed at anyone? I shall continue.
Including Ben Crump and two of his partners who were representing Amir Locke's family.
So I found the whole thing very odd.
Legal analyst Joe Tamburino says if he was counseling the city, he wouldn't have advised inviting potential litigants against the city.
These are attorneys who have already sued the city of Minneapolis in the settlement in the Floyd case for $27 million. So they've obviously been very successful at this.
Here's a little context on things. In November of 2020, Minnesota passed new restrictions on no-knock warrants. The Minneapolis police performed a total of 171 raids that year. In the year following, they executed only 78. So far this year, MPD have served at least 11 no-knock warrants.
I'm going to roll back
Can
one
be
more
seen
time.
holding a gun when Hanneman.
Okay. It's right here. You might have to look at it. I'm just going to roll it back one more time. This is milliseconds before he was shot 3 times, just so you know. So I'm asking everybody, and I'm showing this the clip one more time for everybody in the nosebleed seats can see for themselves. My question to you is that does this gun that's right here look like it's being pointed at anyone? Just so you guys know, the gun is right here. Okay? Okay. Just want to make sure you guys see that. Okay? Now, no-knock warrants, huh? I got some more information. And this goes towards the title of this stream right now. Obviously, I might have to change it here shortly because of this other piece of information that I've received from the fam. Shout out to Lady Justice. Thank you so much for the piece. But we got to get into this piece here. Judge who signed no-knock warrant that led to Amir Locke's death presided over the trial of Derek Chauvin. Yeah. So let's continue. The judge who most likely signed off on the no-knock warrant that resulted in the shooting death of Amir Locke during a pre-dawn raid on a Minneapolis apartment was none other than Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill, who presided over the trial of Derek Chauvin, George Floyd's killer. Cahill was on duty as the signing judge last week, meaning he was the one to review and sign off on search warrant applications. This is what apparently a Hennepin District Court spokesman told the NBC News. The warrant granting authority to search the apartment is not publicly available, so that court cannot comment whether Judge Cahill specifically signed that application. All right. Judge Cahill cannot comment on this particular application or any application for a search warrant because the Minneapolis Code of Judicial Conduct Rule 2.10 or 210 prohibits judges or court staff from commenting on active or pending cases. Now, police used a key fob to burst into the apartment. To me, I didn't see it as a key fob. I saw it as a key. I saw a key go in, and then they turned the knob. Turned the key. That's what I saw. Daily News, the New York Daily News is saying different, but from what we saw in the video, that's what I saw. All right. But they burst into the apartment where Locke was sleeping on his cousin's couch. Though they announced themselves, it was not even 7 a.m. and Locke was fast asleep. I forgot that detail. Dude was in a deep sleep. It was not even 7 o'clock in the morning, and they bust through the door. Imagine somebody busting through the door when you are in your slumber, when you are in deep sleep. So this wasn't even a nap. This was him sleeping over his cousin's house or his cousin's apartment, sleeping on the couch. And God knows what happened the night before. Maybe they went out and kicked it. I don't know. But he was a heavy sleeper from what the parents say. Heavy sleeper. 7 o'clock, not even 7 a.m. in the morning, y'all. And these cops come busting through. And now this young man is dead. Like I said, and I've heard other people say this before, and it's true. It's a legacy gone. A legacy gone. A lineage gone. A bloodline gone. Not even 7 a.m., y'all. Not even 7 a.m. Body cam video shows cop kicking the couch. Then Locke peeks out from under his blanket and a weapon can be seen. Though the official account said the gun was pointed towards the officer, that was not clear on the footage. Now, obviously, if it ain't clear on the footage, then it cap. Then it's not the truth. You can go somewhere with this. Though it was not clear on the footage. If it ain't clear on the footage and it shows that the gun is pointing down, he barely even had the gun in his hands, y'all. Barely. But for the same people that are out here that are saying no, not warrants, we're only going to be used for such and such and such and such. For only hostage situations. Was this a hostage situation? Nope. I don't think so. Parents of Amir, of course, speak on his death. So I wanted to show you guys this a little bit too. Like I said, there's a little bit of a backstory, background. We go a little bit back because this all happened over the past couple of days, starting around. Of course, the shooting happened 5 days ago, but this has continued to grow and keep going. Obviously, there are protests going out in the streets of Minneapolis right now as we speak. People are very upset. People demand justice. So I know I'm doing a little bit of a, jumping in the past and all that, but this is all important information so that you know what has happened so far. So you know what's going down. So here are the parents. They have some things to say. I'm going to scroll through this, of course, but let's take a listen.
As I say my baby boy's name, Amir Locke, each and every one of you are going to learn about Amir Locke. My son didn't deserve what happened to him. He was born and raised in the Twin Cities. He was planning on coming back to Dallas, Texas, where I'm currently at, where he was living as well, to work on and pursue many goals that he had planned. But on 2/2/22, it was taken away from him. Our son is a deep, deep sleeper.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for stopping her flow because she's saying some very important stuff. It's over her son, and of course I want to respect that. But one thing I thought about this the other day, and it made me well up in tears, right? Because you got a mother. Because as soon as I heard about this and I was thinking about it, the fact that this mother has to justify her son being a heavy sleeper breaks my heart. The fact that this mother has to say he's a heavy sleeper. And we talking about a no-knock warrant that was executed at, somebody just said 6:48 a.m. in the morning. That would shock anybody, especially after a day or a night of doing whatever you were doing. You're passed out asleep at your cousin's home, thinking that everything's going to be okay. The fact that this mother has to even justify that her son is a heavy sleeper is extremely frustrating. If we lived in a different world, she wouldn't even have to say this. But she has to explain that because of what the narrative is being put out here.
I've always been on the opposite end of the protest and in support of everybody. I lived here for over 25 years and I raised both my sons. This is very, very detrimental and heart-wrenching and hard because I was always an advocate for the families that went through this, but never in a million years would I have ever imagined that my son, Amir, who is born and raised in the Twin Cities, law-abiding citizen, did everything he was supposed to do, was raised with moral and values, loved by so many, everybody that came in contact with him. He had a beautiful spirit and a beautiful smile. Never would I have imagined that I would be standing up here talking about the execution of my son by the Minneapolis Police Department. I should not have to be here. I should be able to FaceTime with my son like I did on last Friday. I should be able to tell my son that I love you and he says I love you too. But now I have to do that in spirit. I can't do it in the flesh. That's not right. At the end of the day, I believe that he was executed by the MPD, and I want the police officer that murdered my son to be prosecuted and fired.
You're now going to hear from Amir Locke's father.
Every one of you that's here today either have a son or a daughter. For each of you that's out here with the press, I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor. How many of you guys have sons of your own? Let me see, raise your hands. Put yourselves in our shoes. How does that feel to know that your son is sleeping comfortably in a safe place, peacefully, and someone takes it upon themselves to choose who lives and who dies? I'm burning in the inside. Man, I didn't think my son, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen too many times. Too many times. I have to think of my mother right now. I'm sorry. Let her rest. She'll tell me to straighten it up and speak straight. But and me being one of the stronger ones of the family, I have to get it together. I have 5 sons. I have 4 daughters. Amir was the oldest, so he was the 3rd oldest. I love Amir dearly. I love each of them dearly. Amir was a bright light, and he deserves to be able to shine. I apologize. Amir, there's so much that we can say about Amir. Again, I want you to put yourselves in our shoes and think about someone kicking your door in, or not even necessarily kicking the door in. If that would have happened, at least he'd have awakened, possibly. But by him being such a deep sleeper, what we saw when the officer kicked the couch, Amir wasn't even moving before then, until the officer startled him.
Facts.
When he kicked the couch, when he aggravated Amir, when he forced Amir to respond, to protect himself, as any law-abiding citizen would do and has the right to do.
That's right. Yeah.
I definitely agree. We want the officer who took our son's life. We believe that he executed him.
I can only imagine what these I can't even imagine what the family's going through right now. And of course, you a lot of us think this would never happen. You never think it would ever happen to you or hit so close to home, right? You go out there, you protest, you go out there and you show solidarity on your social media posts and all that. You cover these stories, but you never ever really think that it would ever be your own loved one, your own son or daughter or brother or sister. And it's heartbreaking to think that now you can't even sleep while black. It's so sad. Such a sad situation. Let me I got a couple other things I want to show you guys here. Just a few more things. Okay. It'll be quick, but I got a couple other things I want to throw in here. And please, guys, do not forget to hit that like button down below wherever you're watching this show. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube, please hit that like button down below. And don't forget to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. Okay, I'd really appreciate it. Please follow me on Twitter as well. It'd be really appreciated. Or you can follow me on Instagram, whichever one you are, whichever secondary platform you use. All right. Please go follow me on those. They are both The Pascal Show, one word. All right. But here's one thing. Amir Locke's family calls for full ban on no-knock warrants as Minneapolis mayor answers city council questions about city's policies. Okay. So the parents of Amir Locke, a 22-year-old black man, killed during a police raid in Minneapolis last week, are calling for an end to no-knock warrants in the city, describing them as a failure of law enforcement. The no-knock warrant is what caused Amir's death. His father, Andre Locke, told CNN on Monday. The whole system. He wasn't killed. He wasn't murdered. He was executed, Locke's mother, Karen Wells, said. Locke was shot as the SWAT team executed a warrant and an apartment Wednesday morning. A short clip of the incident shows police entering the apartment and shouting commands as Locke, who appeared to be sleeping, gets up holding a gun his family said he legally owned. Police then opened fire. So Locke wasn't warned. Locke wasn't named in the warrant, officials said. As professional people that carry guns and are supposed to protect and serve a community, they didn't protect my son that day. They chose not to do that. And they took him from me, and I am angry. This is what the mother said. He didn't even see what was coming. He couldn't see what took his life or who took his life. Now, here's the part. In November 2020, amid a nationwide reckoning over police policies prompted in part by the murder of George Floyd and the shooting of Breonna Taylor during a warrant service in Louisville, Kentucky, Minneapolis Mayor Frye, and then Police Chief Arredondo announced they were instituting a policy that required officers to announce their presence and purpose before entering a building, except in special circumstances. So, at a city council meeting Monday, seeking clarity in the wake of Locke's death, Frye said he holds himself accountable for using language indicating the city had banned no-knock warrants. Oh my God. He said his language in describing no-knock warrants was more casual and did not reflect the necessary precision or nuance. I believe that my language and what we were saying, certainly in longer form, honored the spirit of this policy change. But there are instances when it did not. And I own that. So he's backtracking? The mayor told the committee that before late 2020, there was a state law on no-knock and knock and announce warrants, but there were no delineating, I think that's how you say it, factors beyond those options. The city had no policy at the time, he said. Our policy reform then required officers to announce their presence and their purpose prior to entry when serving any type of warrants, including a no-knock warrant, the mayor said. So, on Friday, last Friday, Frye, or Frey, I think it's Frey or Fry, I don't know, imposed an immediate moratorium on the request and execution of no-knock warrants, but his announcement noted they could still be carried out if there is an imminent threat of harm to an individual or the public, and then the warrant must be approved by the chief. Examples of those circumstances include hostage situations and extreme domestic violence situations in which an officer may have to protect someone from the threat of severe bodily harm, he said. We have to challenge them not to put a Band-Aid over no-knock warrants, Jeff Storm, the Locke family attorney, said to CNN, which is the article I'm reading right now. They need to take this step and completely ban no-knock warrants. It's not safe for either side of the door. Nothing they can do can bring back our son, Andre Locke said. But the best thing they can do at this point, with no-knock warrants and prosecuting the officer who decided to play God, what they can do is fire him, prosecute him, and just tell the truth. Now, we've already known that no-knock warrants have been very, very dangerous, very, very messed up. We already know about things like the Breonna Taylor situation and so forth. But the fact that they say, "Oh, yeah, we were implementing these things," and then now, "Oh, my bad. What I meant was backtracking, trying to cover themselves, trying to cover their own asses, rather than saying, hey, we done messed up. This was a mistake. We were saying that we were changing things on the no-knock warrants." And it seems to me that nothing has changed. If this situation was different, if there were no-knock warrants implemented in that particular situation on the 2nd of February, we would not be in this situation right now. If they did not knock or sneak into this cousin's, Amir Locke's cousin's apartment at 6:48 a.m., whilst he is in a heavy sleep, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. And the part that it just drives me nuts is this: just tell the truth. Which is clear that even in that full press briefing that we saw, they did nothing but try to cover their tracks. They did nothing but try to finesse. There was no transparency, which is what they asked for, which is what they said that they wanted to do. We want full transparency. You have the mayor going all politician-y, right? We want full transparency and all this stuff. And then the interim police chief walks up and just tries to just slither through the grass, leaving out pieces of information, key pieces of information, which will most likely, if they end up prosecuting this particular officer that pulled the trigger 3 times, not just once, but 3 times, they will use that information if he is prosecuted and is tried, which I hope is what happens. But they were telling some sweet, sweet little lies, for sure. So I say, where's the transparency? Where is the truth? This is all straight cap. But let's move on to this next piece. I got this from Lady Justice. Thank you so much. This broke 10:30 a.m., I'm assuming in my time. Okay. So this happened about an hour ago that this dropped. But police arrest Makai Speed, 17 years old, in the case that led to Amir Locke's shooting death. So I got a little clip here, I think. I'm going to play that. Might make it a little bit easier. Whoops.
Breaking news. According to a police source, an arrest has been made in the St. Paul homicide. This is the case related to the search warrant that was served in the apartment in downtown Minneapolis that led to the death of Amir Locke. We've learned that a 17-year-old was arrested in Winona. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield has been covering this. She joins us live with the developments this morning. Suze?
No, can't hear you.
Information in. But yes, this is developing. In fact, I'm reporting from my living room right now to give you an idea of the urgency of this information coming in. But we do have some information about that original homicide. Now, this all started with a homicide that St. Paul police were working. We really didn't know much about that until now. We knew that they were working a homicide. They wanted to search an apartment in Minneapolis. To do that, they had to get Minneapolis police involved. Now, they do not use no-knock warrants. Minneapolis police, they tell us, did want a no-knock warrant, so they served the warrant. Then we all know what happened then. We know that Amir Locke was killed somewhere in that situation. Well, what we know is that last night there was an arrest made in the homicide that they were originally investigating when they went into that apartment. We're told that a 17-year-old was arrested that was in the Winona area. We were told that it happened last night. He's now being processed in Ramsey County this morning. Now, we don't know his name. There's still a lot we don't know, but we do know that they took someone into custody. Now, there is a search warrant here that is in question. One big deal about this arrest is that this no-knock warrant we've been talking about will likely be unsealed. And we were told that St. Paul police want it unsealed as soon as today. And that should have a lot of information in as to why the no-knock warrant was issued. Everyone keeps talking about the warrant, and we should get more information on that today. We should also find out a little bit more about who the suspect is, what happened in that original murder case, and kind of how we got to this point where everyone is asking questions of why Amir Locke died.
Right. And that warrant should give us more information as to what police were looking for when they went to the Bolero Flats where Amir Locke was killed. What has to happen, Susan Elizabeth, today for that warrant to be unsealed?
I'm going to continue this, and she is asking a very good question, but a part of me feels funny about this. A part of me does. I'm looking at this sideways. I'm looking at this sideways, y'all. I know that this is information that just came out and all that, but at the same time, how is this 110%? Is this 110% the truth? I'm sorry. I'm gonna speculate. I'm gonna conspiracize, okay, with all my conspiracies and speculations right now, because there has not been any type of transparency with 5-0. And then now they found another kid, 17 years old, and now they're going to go, well, when we get into more investigation of this, we'll have more truths. Okay. It's not sitting right. It's not sitting right to me. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, we are told that, it's pretty standard. Some people were wondering, why was the warrant sealed in the first place? It's pretty typical in homicide investigations that St. Paul would have said, hey, seal this warrant. Well, after everything that happened, as of yesterday, they said that, as for their part, they want the warrant unsealed, but a judge had to do that, or this arrest had to be made so that it doesn't interfere with the investigation. So at this point, St. Paul police, we were told, are trying to get that warrant unsealed by a judge as soon as today. And that is kind of, the information everyone is thirsty for right now is what was in that warrant. Why was it a no-knock?
All right, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield on this breaking news for us this morning. Thank you, Susan Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be, extra or anything like that. But they sit there and they're like, well, when we get more information, we'll let you know, so on and so forth. But then suddenly this comes out. They got this new guy. I don't know. I hope that there's no connection, right? I hope that the speculation is one big ass misunderstanding and all that. But I can't help but look at this and go, something's not right here. Something ain't adding up. Because, of course, 5-0 is going to try to do everything they can, of course, to bring justice. If it is really 110% justice, I hope it is. But it just seems weird that none of this came out. And people are still waiting for the information. I'm sorry, but I'm side-eyeing this for right now. I'm side-eyeing. So a source from the St. Paul Police Department tells the WCCO that they have arrested a homicide suspect for the case that ultimately led to the death of Amir Locke last week inside of a downtown apartment in Minneapolis. The charging documents against the suspect indicate that he was Locke's cousin. The charging documents against the suspect indicate that he was Locke's cousin. So the cousin was nowhere to be found. They found him somewhere else. His 17-year-old cousin. Police say they arrested the suspect, who is 17 years old, in Winona Monday afternoon. Yesterday, Winona police chief has confirmed that his agency assisted the St. Paul police. Police confirmed that the person they have arrested is believed to be connected with the homicide of Otis Elder, who was shot and killed on the 500 block of North Pryor Avenue last month. The suspect is currently being processed in Ramsey County. Later Tuesday morning, the Ramsey County attorney said that they had filed a petition against the suspect for 2 counts of second-degree murder. Prosecutors are petitioning for the 17-year-old, identified as Makai Camden Speed of Minneapolis, to be tried as an adult. He's expected to make his first appearance at the Ramsey Court Juvenile and Family Justice Center Tuesday afternoon. That's this afternoon. The warrant served that day is sealed. Police are asking for the warrant to be unsealed as soon as possible. So, wow. So, let me repeat this again one last time. The suspect that they have in custody is, or at least the documents are saying that the suspect that they have in custody right now is, in fact, Locke's cousin. So, Makai Camden Speed is a 17-year-old that was involved in 2 counts of second-degree murder, involving a homicide, of an Otis Elder. So Makai Camden Speed is Amir Locke's cousin, allegedly. This is what the documents are saying. Charges filed against Speed indicate that police execute search warrants on 3 separate apartments in the Bolero Flats where Locke was fatally shot. Investigators say that officers were intending to arrest the teen suspect and 2 associates for murder and aiding an officer after the fact. One of the 3 apartments was where Locke was. Speed was not in the unit where the fatal police shooting occurred. Interesting. Police connected the January 10th shooting of Elder to a stolen silver Mercedes-Benz. It had been reported stolen last November, and police say it had been used in multiple armed robberies in December. The vehicle had been recovered in a parking ramp in Minneapolis late January, and investigators say that Speed's fingerprint was found on it. This is breaking right now, or at least for the past hour. So there was a gun, there was a car, a stolen silver Mercedes-Benz that was recovered in a parking ramp late January, and investigators say that Speed's fingerprint was found in or on the car. For weeks, officers attempted to locate Speed, contacting his mother several times, as well as his probation officer. He was ultimately located in Winona after attempting to flee officers. The charges state he had a loaded gun in his jacket, the same jacket seen being worn by the person on surveillance video of Elder's shooting. Have mercy. Wow. Now, we already know, well, of course, the officer that ultimately shot and killed Amir Locke, his name is Officer Mark Hanneman. And of course, he shot him Wednesday morning when they were conducting a search warrant, a no-knock search warrant. Okay, he was sleeping on his couch, 22-year-old Amir Locke. They say that Locke was not named in the original search warrant. The St. Paul Police Department does not use no-knock warrants, but they said since they were serving a warrant in Minneapolis, they went to the Minneapolis Police Department's preference, or they went with the Minneapolis Police Department's preference to have a no-knock warrant in this case. And of course, typically a judge has to unseal a warrant. And of course, we already saw that a second ago, where the judge, the same judge that presided over the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin case, was allegedly the same one that unsealed this warrant, this no-knock warrant. Two WCCO sources later confirmed that it was Peter Cahill, like I just said, the same judge that presided over the Derek Chauvin trial, who signed off on the no-knock search warrant. So if everything is true, and the way I'm reading this, and if this young kid, 17-year-old Makai Camden Speed, if he is connected to all this stuff, Amir Locke sounds like he happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong bloody time. Or I got my theories. I mean, the theories revolving around why he was there in that home in the first place. I mean, clearly he might have been kicking it with his boys, so on and so forth. His cousin was like, hey, man, you're more than welcome to crash here, but I'm just letting you know I got some heat coming towards me. And I don't mean police. Just maybe he got some heat because he's involved, allegedly, maybe involved in some shootings, right? That he had done some things, and he's saying, hey, man, keep your head on a swivel because I don't know. I need to, anything's possible, so on and so forth. Just be safe because, I'm out here in these streets and I'm doing some things. Allegedly, if he did those two homicides, if he's being wanted and being tried and charged for 2 second-degree murders and for the murder of someone else, Elder was the last name, then he may have been like, yo, man, you can crash here, but I'm just letting you know, maybe he had already known that his cousin is, out here. And he got some people gunning for him. Maybe. Especially after the shooting, after the murder of, where's this man's name? Where's this man's name? I had it, now it's gone. For the killing of Otis Elder. So he might have been like, yo, this is the reason why. Maybe this is the reason why he had a gun next to him when he was sleeping. Because he wanted to protect himself. And he knew that his cousin was in a bit of trouble. Then all of a sudden, 5-0 come barging in, and next thing you know, boom. We all seen the last 14 seconds of his life. So all that starts to make sense if that is 110% true. But right now, they have arrested 17-year-old Makai Camden Speed in connection to a murder that he apparently was a part of, and also in connection to the situation that led to Amir Locke's death. Ain't that a damn shame, y'all? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And that's breaking. That's brand new news. That man, oh man. Okay. I will be cutting this out as a separate thing for sure, because this is a big piece of information. But let's speculate for a second. What are the possibilities, right? What are the possibilities here? And the possibilities are that seems like it's plain as day to me. It sounds like this young man, Amir Locke, had his gun next to him to make sure that he was safe, because he didn't know if somebody might come barging in and try to hurt him while he was asleep, thinking that he is somebody that he is not, which is his 17-year-old cousin, allegedly, Makai Speed. So, of course, he puts his gun next to him. But then he goes into a deep sleep. All of a sudden, the cops come barging in, and all of this stuff goes down, right? Now, I want to know, and because I see Eric Johnson just said something. I haven't pulled up anybody's comments in a bit, so I'm going to pull this up. Eric Johnson said, Otis Elder's story is sad. Now, I want to see what this whole Otis Elder thing is real quick. Interesting. We got it right here, I think. Boom, boom, boom. Wow. Okay. Let me pull this up. The plot just continues to thicken. Thicker than a snicker, y'all. Thicker than a snicker. All right, let's look at this. All right, man found shot on St. Paul Street becomes second homicide in 2 days in the city. Are both of these shootings connected to Makai Speed? We don't know. But he is being charged for 2 second-degree murder charges right now. And one of them, if I'm correct, I don't know if it's one of them or if Otis Elder's shooting is included with those 2 charges of second-degree murder. But let's continue. So, this is on January 11th. A 38-year-old man was found shot on a St. Paul Street on Monday night, and police are looking for the person who killed him. Someone called 911 around about 9:30 p.m. and reported a shooting in the 500 block of North Pryor Avenue, which is between University Avenue and Interstate 94. Officers located Otis R. Elder lying in the street, and they and St. Paul Fire Department paramedics gave him medical aid. Medics transported Elder to Regents Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The motive hadn't been determined as of Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, and no one was under arrest. Police asked anyone with information about the shooting to call this particular number. Elder was the father of 2 sons, and he loved his kids to death, said one of his sisters, Motika Elder. She says she never imagined living a life without Otis, and she wants justice because my brother did not deserve to die. The homicide was the second of the year in St. Paul, coming on the heels of Sunday's fatal stabbing of someone else. So maybe there's more here. Let me see if I can find more details. Unbelievable. It's crazy how tight we are all, how things are so connected. You know what I mean? So connected. But y'all, please hit that like button down below. Send those past 300 likes. That would really, really mean a lot. Now, Otis Elder is a 38-year-old man. He was fatally shot, as we just said, or as I just said, at around 9:30 p.m. That's it. They don't have anything else to be said so far. So the death of Otis Elder is still kind of a open-ended, unanswered question. But obviously, like what happened, what led to it, and all that, why he was shot and killed, we do not know. I'm sure that there's going to be more information that comes out here soon, given the fact that Makai Speed is now in custody, finally. I guess he was hiding in plain sight, but he was living in that apartment complex, and he let his cousin, Amir Locke, stay there. I don't know if he was staying there for the night or if he was there for the month, if he was just couch surfing for a while. I don't know that part of the story. All we know is that they did a no-knock warrant. They bust through the doors. They found the wrong person, and they killed that young man, Amir Locke. Regardless if this was, they thought that, it's Mackay Speed and he's armed and dangerous and whatnot. They should have gone through the procedures a little bit differently, in my personal opinion. Now we have a young man that's dead, his cousin in custody, and he's looking down the charges of 2 second-degree murders, all because God knows what the connection is, right? God knows what the reason is. But here we have some breaking news and breaking developing story as we speak. And I can only imagine what Mackay must be feeling right now, because he is literally one of the reasons why, one of the factors, right, that caused his cousin to no longer be here as well, because of what he had done in January. And if I'm correct, that was January of this year. Hold on, I'm checking right now. Yep, January of this very year. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, y'all. But look at the world that we live in. Look at the world that we live in. So hopefully we'll get more information from that as time goes on. But the person that they were looking for is Mackay Speed. We'll see if he's actually connected to that or not. They did say that the interim police chief did say that they found some serious evidence, key pieces of evidence inside that same apartment that Amir Locke was shot and killed in. So we'll see if there actually is a full-on connection to Mackay Speed and Amir Locke. But allegedly, they are allegedly saying that they are cousins. Still, no matter what, you have someone like Amir Locke that should not have been killed while sleeping. That's not how it should be going, y'all. That shouldn't. Anyway, guys, that is the show today. All right. I appreciate all y'all for being in and chopping it up with me. And when we find out more information surrounding this story, I promise you I will be on to talk about those things as things develop. But that is breaking news right now. Mackay Speed, allegedly Amir's cousin, has been detained. He has been arrested. So hopefully we will get some more information around that side of this story, right? But we also need to bring this Officer Hanneman, to justice as well. He needs to be prosecuted, and he needs to be fired. Not on paid leave, all right? He needs to be prosecuted and fired from his job, because Amir should still be alive today. I hate that he's being punished for sleeping while being black. That's messed up. Anyway, guys, do not forget to do me that favor. Hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. Love to see it go past 300 before we sign off. So hit that like button down below. Do not forget to crush that subscribe button. All right? It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. And the family is growing, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And I cannot wait to meet every single last soul that is a part of the show now. But anyway, until next time, I'll see you guys very, very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Have a positive one, y'all. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
You're going to perform
tonight.
I can't make this interview boring because this man is too exciting as a host. And I'm truly saying this, and if y'all can't do this, me and this man here is going to leave and go somewhere else where we can get some love. I want everyone in the building to say, I love Pascal on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. For more information, call us now.